The class will begin with each student walking into the room and having a seat at their desk. On their desk, they will begin to read the article at their desk while the music plays. This is a sample of the music. The students will then use expo markers on page-protected sleeves to put 2 underlined under the main idea of their article and 1 underline under each supporting detail. When the music stops, the students will turn to their neighbor and explain the main idea of the article with 3 supporting details from the article. They will generate questions using Bloom's taxonomy as a result of this turn and talk. Reminders will be displayed on the smartboard using Microsoft PowerPoint, along with verbal clues such as write 1 question using a Bloom's taxonomy keyword as a result of your discussion with your shoulder buddy. Before the lesson, I will have modeled an essay and given the students copies with editing marks. The students will have learned about the taxonomy of questions and the vocabulary words. They will be asked to generate an original essay with a clear thesis based on the articles that they are reading. I will make the following statements. Compare the article you just read to your life. Contrast the protagonist of the article against yourself. Critique the author's main point. Justify the actions of the community in your article. Reconstruct the thesis of the text. Okay, you guys did an excellent job of double underlining the main idea in this article. Let's see if we can find some more support there. What main idea is supported? Let's find some more support for that. All right, this one looks pretty good. It seems that you've identified 4 different supporting details. Let's see if we can find a good main idea. What do all of those supporting details lend themselves towards? How can we bring them all together in one big idea statement for that article? But other than that, you guys are doing a great job. You sat down, read the article, you did the turn and talk, you generated those Bloom's taxonomy questions. You did an excellent job so far. Let's just keep going, drag it a little bit further, and see if we can get this to the next level. So we want that Bloom's taxonomy level at evaluation or synthesis or analysis, those higher levels that indicate that you guys are thinking at the top of your game, the very, very highest level possible. Well, that about does it for the day. You guys have written out that beautiful essay, and we're going to reflect on it now. So go ahead and take out your note cards. On your index cards, which you should have in your box, you guys are going to answer the following questions. Are you ready? Here they go. Okay. What about this activity was easy? What about this particular activity was easy? That's your first question. What about this activity was easy? Give you another minute to summarize your thoughts. Okay, let's stay on topic, guys. Let's stay on topic. Focus. All right, go ahead and sum it up in 10. 3, 2, 1. Okay, here's our second question. What parts of this assignment were too difficult? What parts of this assignment were too difficult? What parts of this assignment were too difficult? Remember, you don't have to write the questions, you're just writing the answers. I would give the students another minute to summarize their thoughts, perhaps 2. Then I would ask if everybody was about done, if they needed more time. If any student indicated that they needed more time, I would give them another minute or two to summarize their thoughts, making sure to keep everyone else on task and focused, asking other students to elaborate on their ideas, perhaps checking one and seeing if there is a spelling error or a grammar error that we could fix. When that was done, I would ask the next question. If you could have done one thing differently, what would it have been and why? If you could have done one thing differently, what would that have been and why? If you could have done one thing differently, what would that thing have been and why? I would give the students about 2 or 3 minutes to answer this one. It's a little bit longer, and I'm asking a little bit more detail by asking why. And once they were done answering that one, I would use the same probing strategies to make sure that everybody got the amount of time that they needed. The last question I would ask, what strategy did you find to be the most helpful? When you were doing this, you did a lot of different things. There were a lot of different aspects to this. You guys came in, you read different articles, you carouseled around, you read each article, you turned and talked to your neighbor, you used the you used the Bloom's taxonomy sheet, you guys did the main idea highlighting, the text graffiti. So what of those strategies, those are your possible answers, what of those strategies did you find to be the most helpful? And tell me why that strategy was the most helpful. Which strategy was the most helpful and why?